in ourselves that those trees out the window have, that an elephant has, that every piece of life on earth, whether it's plant or vegetable, has the identical alphabet to spell out its words, the identical DNA, in other words. Absolutely identical. Same, only difference is that the letters in that DNA spell out something different. I mean, you have English with 26 letters, a Hebrew with 22. You can write all those books on a shelf, and then you can have another shelf with all physics books. You have another shelf with Shakespeare's books. You have another shelf with music, with words for music, and they're all using the same alphabet, because that's the beauty of the alphabet, and that's the beauty of the DNA. That the DNA, that our genetic code, can in fact be used across the board for everything. But it does show that there was a common ancestor, and that means that this was pre-programmed. Pre-programmed, I mean by pre-programmed, that the system was set up with a system, an alphabetical system called the genetic code, that could spell all kinds of life right from the beginning. Because it's amazing. And the phenomena of the DNA, of our genetic code, is such that if you took all the books in the world and all the music in the world and coded them on the genetic code, it's not my calculation, you fit all of them on the head of a pin, not the point of the pin, on the head of a pin at that level, because the DNA is so complex, so compacted that it can turn light beams essentially into people. Because the Big Bang produced light beams. If you took all the DNA out of any one of your bodies, okay, so in each cell there are approximately 2 meters of this double helix. If you open it up, 2 meters long, and you have how many? About 70. What's the number? 70. I've got the number. In anything, in an average-sized person, if you took out all the cells and just tied the DNA together, one to the other, to show how much information is in your body, that DNA would stretch from the earth to the sun and back to the earth 500 times. 500 round trips is what in our body, and it's all compacted in this little space. It shows the level of compaction and sophistication of development. So, it's not fair to say, well, it couldn't get that by randomness, because that doesn't convince anyone. But the idea of looking at randomness to produce these complexity, that doesn't work when you look at numbers. Does it prove there's a God? I don't think so. But it certainly proves that we don't understand evolution. That was my little letter in the New York Times. How that happened? Well, that happened was about now, it was probably 10 years ago, there was a famous atheist. In fact, he was the most famous atheist living. His name was Anthony Flew. He makes these famous scientists, like small potatoes turn into numbers. He wasn't the same, he was a philosopher, and he proved philosophically that there could not be a God. He did this in the early 1950s. And what was extraordinary about his proof, it was so perfect and powerful that it became the largest, the most widely quoted paper in any field of philosophy for 50 years. You realize as a scientist, when you publish a paper and no one cites it, it's meaningless. It's only if it's cited by other people to use your information for the next step that it's significant. His paper that proved there could not be a God was the most widely quoted paper in all fields of philosophy for 50 years. And then he read a book by Roy Varghese, a magnificent human being who's in Dallas, Texas. He's an Asian and Indian high-tech in the States. And Roy Varghese took me from Israel and this man Anthony Flew from England and took us together at NYU as a very good film studio. And he produced it all in his own pocket, a book called Has Science Discovered God? Anthony Flew made the mistake of reading my book. I think the first of this, I don't know which one, I don't recall which one it was, and he read Roy Varghese's book. He relates it to me, Flew relates it to me, and he changed. When we met, he had already changed. So I'm very pleased, because it was very embarrassing to see a person. By then he was in his 70s, he died about 6 years ago. And I would rather not, I'm not interested in making life difficult for people. But he read this and he changed, and the whole discussion, which is on film called Has Science Discovered God, was his discussion. And he said, I go to where Socrates, he quotes Socrates, I go to where truth leads me. And he said, in fact, he published a book after we had this meeting called "There Is No God," and then Noah's crossed out, and it says there is a